Hi everyone, my name is Michael LePage, and this is part 1 in a series of videos about space settlement called Settling the Incliptic. This part is called the Carousel Concept. So, an example of a wrong question. You may have heard it. Where do we go next? Some people say the moon, some people say Mars, some people say asteroids, and I want to put it to you in this video that it really doesn't matter. It's not about going anymore, it's not about planting a flag. Any infrastructure capable of settling one of them can settle all of them. My answer to that question is D, all of the above, anywhere with enough raw materials and sunlight. All of the above is a terrible label, so I've come up with this word incliptic, meaning inner ecliptic. It's that plane which is between 0.8 and 3.5 AU roughly. There are 2 planets, Earth and Mars, 3 moons, and over 10 million asteroids that possess more than enough accessible resources for another 1,000 years of civilization. We only have to conquer the problems of this region, and they're not small. Bone loss due to lack of gravity, high levels of radiation. We need ways of recycling air and waste and growing our own food. My position is that 3 of these 4 problems can be solved by replicating Earth's environment at smaller scales as closely as we can, and this requires simulated gravity. Now, I'm not the first to suggest building a ring, a torus, something that spins in order to produce artificial gravity, but all these examples have something in common. They're all solid structures. So, to draw an analogy from the dawn of aviation, you've heard of the Wrights. You probably haven't heard of Lilienthal unless you studied aviation. What Lilienthal did, he knew from building paper gliders that this angle, called dihedral, produced an inherently stable glider, and so he reasoned that it would be worthwhile producing large, heavier-than-air aircraft like this. What the Wrights got right is that intrinsic stability is not necessary if you have the correct control structures. So my question is, why must every spacecraft be a solid structure? Here's where I want to introduce the carousel concept. You may have ridden on a swing carousel in the past. Basically, cars are attached to a central motor with cables. Why would we want to do this in a spacecraft? Well, solid torus structures, or fixed radius, are inherently massive, so they're more difficult to move. What we want is a craft which can change orbits, so simulating gravity with retractable modules on cables makes more sense for those kinds of craft. This means that the capsules can be retracted while high g-force burns are being made. Here I've got 2 rockets on either end of the spacecraft, but you can also have ion engines, which can thrust even while these cables are deployed and the capsules are spinning around the craft. Furthermore, the central motor maintains tension on the cables at all times, and you've got counterweights which ensure the remainder of the craft is stable. And last of all, you need climber modules to climb from the capsules to the craft and back again. In this variant, you can see that the radius of rotation is 100 meters, and it rotates at a frequency of 3 revs per minute. According to the reading I've done, those numbers are pretty much the minimum radius and maximum spin rate that you can use to simulate Earth gravity without giving vertigo to the people inside. So with this design, all eating, sleeping and exercise, as well as all bathroom needs, can be taken care of at normal gravity, while all work and recreation happens in the microgravity modules. In the picture here, I've got 2 Dragon Lab modules being used as the spinning capsules, and 2 BA330 modules as the zero-gravity modules. It's important that the climber modules, which take people from the capsules to the main craft, can come to a complete stop once they're docked on the central axis. And also I've got 2 node modules in there to connect docking Dragon Lab modules as well as the main the rocket stages, and the ion engines. So, these are variable radius craft, and they have modules connected by extendable cables which are intrinsically unstable but have control systems to maintain stability. They are much lighter than a solid structure with a similar radius would be, and so easier to build in low Earth orbit. These are the craft which can transport humans to different orbits where those solid fixed radius space stations will be built, and it means that any trip longer than it takes to spin up the capsules will be one in which humans have a full gravity environment to exist in. So that's this part. See part 2 for my ideas on fixed radius craft.